hey, how'd you like a Mobat? Like right now. Not wait for the HasLab. Or maybe even a Wolverine or a Bridge Layer. Or maybe you're just sick of waiting for them to come out with that damn hooded Cobra Commander. Or maybe a British lad and you would like the thing, apologize for the accent, one of your favorite Action Force villains, Baron Ironblood and all of his friends from the Red Shadows. Well, guess what? You can actually get all of those right now. Well, you can pre-order them anyway. And so this video, we're going to talk about several companies that actually make toys, high quality toys for the G.I. Joe Classified line, meant to work with G.I. Joe Classified. These are absolutely gorgeous and will integrate perfectly with your G.I. Joe Classified figures, and you can get them right now. Okay, I'm gonna go through a whole bunch. There's actually way more, but I'm gonna highlight 15 things that I think are really worth looking at, and mention a couple of others. So if you want a Mobat, it turns out they are actually making one right now, and this is not by Hasbro, so maybe you'll actually be able to get it, unlike I was unable to get the Vamp in any way. So this is going to be from Ramen Toys. Now, Ramen Toys, if you're not familiar, they actually came out with a Ramen Racer last year, which is a really beautiful looking car. They also make a whole host of other toys, some that are meant to fit in with the Classified line. For instance, they make like a serial killer white van, right? Or a black van. You could make an A-Team van, and you can even fit this van out with some armor. So this is all Ramen Toys. So Ramen Toys is coming out with basically a Mobat. I mean, it is essentially a Mobat. A lot of these companies you're going to see, they're coming out with stuff for G.I. Joe. They know there's a huge fan base out there and people who will pay for some upgrades. And to be honest with you, I cannot speak directly to the quality of any of these because I'm not really buying them except for a couple things here and there. I'm just honestly Classified lines killing with the freaking HasLabs. So, and 300 figures a week they come out with. So I haven't bought many of these things, but I am eyeing it, and I probably will. And every once in a while, I buy one up. But anyway, so Ramen Toys has actually come out with a Mobat. This is a fully operational tank. It's got tank treads that run. It is basically maybe a slightly smaller version of the Mobat that's meant to fit your Classified figures. But they also came out with a pretty interesting, innovative thing. Remove the top of the Mobat, and you can get a second attachment, which will actually make your Mobat a Wolverine. Don't want a Wolverine? Now, I think we might get a Mobat any minute, but we're probably not going to get a Wolverine for a little while. And even then, the next one, you can actually turn it into a Bridge Layer, fully functioning Bridge Layer. And I really doubt we're getting a Bridge Layer anytime soon. That one has got to be pretty far down the list, but that was always like a fun thing as a kid. I always loved the Bridge Layer. I love to lay the bridge over something and have people fight off of it, knock each other off, kill each other. So the Bridge Layer was like one of the more fun vehicles. And I don't think we're getting one of those anytime soon. So this is Ramen Toys. I can't quite speak to the quality of how good their stuff is. However, I have watched reviews. Articulated Ninja, who's a great reviewer, love his stuff. And he has done a review on the Ramen Racer and has spoken to its quality. We can only assume the quality is anything as good as a Ramen Racer, then it is pretty good quality. Not to mention the fact that when Hasbro does come on with, they're going to make like 3 of them, and they're going to give you a window of 30 seconds for when you can order it, and then everybody will order it, and they'll all 10, and you'll never get one. Which is what happened with the Vamp, and yes, I am bitter. Next in line, if you're a big fan of Baron Ironblood, and I am not, because I am not British, and therefore I did not grow up with Action Force. However, I am kind of eyeing this anyway, because I sort of love the idea of bringing in other factions and having forces that are not just G.I. Joe versus Cobra, but having things other organizations that G.I. Joe can go up against. I'm also fascinated by the history of Action Force and Palitoy. There is a company making all of these right now, and this company is called Fresh Monkey Fiction. Probably one of my favorite companies on this list. Have come on. Fresh Monkey Fiction has a whole host of action figures that have come out in the past few years. They're actually making a line of Eagle Force figures, which I was a fan of as a kid as well. But what they've done in a really clever and interesting way is they've basically come out with all of the Red Shadows figures in a line called the Order of the Crimson Moon. So the Order of the Crimson Moon goes along with the Fresh Monkey Fiction sort of flagship toy line, which is called Monster Force, which is really honestly one of the coolest things I've seen recently. I think the first thing I'm probably going to dive into buying here when I get exhaust my my spending on G.I. Joe Classified, and I actually have some money to blow on something else, I'm definitely going to go for these. First of all, Monster Force looks incredible. It is a whole line. It's got a comic book. It's got a storyline. And the premise is essentially Declan Van Helsing, who was like the great-great-great-grandson of Abraham Van Helsing, mummy, is turning human beings into sleepwalker soldiers and trying to take over the world. The only one who can stop them is vampires, because vampires can't be hypnotized by the sleepwalker. So Declan Van Helsing resurrects Dracula, creates a legion of soldiers that are vampires that can go up against this mummy character, and it's just a really fun and creative idea. I think one of the things that Fresh Monkey Fiction talks about is that fiction is key to their name, that they're storytellers. They're not they're and I think that's my biggest thing about toys, is that it's about the story rather than just how cool it looks. I'm into the story. So I really love this line. But in addition to their Monster Force, they've come out with a section that's connected to Monster Force. There's a sort of set of villains. They're all werewolves, and they're called the Order of the Crimson Moon. But what they've done with the Order of Crimson Moon, they've given all their Order of the Crimson Moon characters the look and feel of the Red Shadows. They are identical versions to the Red Shadows, but with an element missing. For instance, all of them are werewolves, but they all come with alternate heads. So you can actually get Red Shadows figures. All you gotta do is remove the werewolf head and put on the Red Shadows head. They all come with a series of hands. They actually have Baron Ironblood. He's got an energy whip. And if you go and you get a sort of zombie werewolf, you're going to notice a zombie werewolf comes with a container helmet. It's like a big, black looking weird. He's got that sort of big, bucket head that Baron Ironblood has. He's going to put that on you. So you take that bucket, you put it on your Count Iron Moon character, and now you have Baron Ironblood, a perfect rendition of Baron Ironblood that is 6 inches, goes well exactly with your G.I. Joe Classified line. Obviously they know what they're doing, and they have all of the major villains from the first run. They have the Black Major, who's sort of like the second in command, I guess, who basically looks like a Nazi. And again, he comes with all the accoutrements to be a werewolf soldier, if you want a werewolf soldier. And you can remove all of those, and you've got your Red Shadows villain. They even got Red Laser, which is basically, from what I understand, the version of Destro that you had if you played with Action Force and not G.I. Joe. And what's great about this is this guy has a robotic face. He's got a suitcase that will have what looks like Crimson Moon Contagion formula that looks like a briefcase that Destro would have come with. And he actually comes with removable rockets that shoot off that can be taken off his wrist, and even have a little jet stream coming off him. So you got your wrist rockets. Hashtag not my Destro. Still doesn't really look like Destro to me. If you want a Destro, you gotta be rocking the disco open chest and the medallion. But it's a cool look, and I can see wanting that. But even then, Fresh Monkey Fiction throws in little tiny clues that they're making stuff for G.I. Joe Classified as well. For instance, take a look at this figure, which is very clearly, you're going to look at, is labeled as a terrorist, a zombie terrorist, okay? This is very clearly a Cobra soldier that has been turned into a zombie. So if you want your zombie, or zombie Viper, or you want a Cobra soldier that's turned into a zombie, they're making one right now, and you can get it. And finally, and probably the coolest thing that they've done, and certainly the number one thing that I'm interested in here, they have created a character from Order of the Crimson Moon that is very clearly basically a Crimson Hooded Cobra Commander. Now, you want that Hooded Cobra Commander, you can paint him. He's going to be a perfect, you want him to look like he should in the normal G.I. Joe world. You can paint him a little blue, or you can just leave him as in sort of, this new take of the everything's crimson, like they did with Baroness, Tomax, and Zaymot, and you've got, Crimson Cobra Commander with the hood, and it's a dead-on perfect Cobra Commander. And the quality of these things is incredible. They are as detailed, and they're maybe more detailed as G.I. Joe Classified. They're a hair more. They're on you about $30. They usually come with extra hands though, and extra heads, and so you get kind of a lot for what you're paying for. And all the weapons are made by Gridiron Studios. Now, Gridiron Studios is the next thing we're going to talk about, and we could talk about this for like 3 hours. There's so much cool stuff that Gridiron Studios makes, and so I'm just going to highlight some of the things that I love about what Gridiron Studios is doing. I'm going to leave it up to you to check out the rest, and maybe we can do some deep dive on there later. But what Gridiron Studios is a company that makes action figure loadouts and sort of details and things to, incorporate into your G.I. Joe Classified line. It's a testament to how much love there is for this line, that there's so many companies sitting here making stuff and have a business model that's just, I'm going to make stuff for this line. There's so many people love it. And Gridiron Studios, that's their business model. They do very, very detailed, very well designed, very well painted accessories for your G.I. Joe Classified line. Some of the highlights that I can look at, some things that I've been eyeing, and again, I'm not blowing a ton of money on accessories for my G.I. Joe because Classified line, as I got bills to pay, and it's almost Christmas, and I can't buy all of the toys for me. I've got to buy some toys for the children, but I want to. Here's some of the highlights that I see from what Gridiron Studios is doing. First, you're going to see that Gridiron Studios has created legs for your Trouble Bubble. So this turns your Trouble Bubble into sort of a mech suit with legs that allow it to march into battle. They also have a whole selection of drones and robots and miniature weapons that you can add into your Classified line. But what they're really doing is really interesting, these character loadouts. Whenever a character comes out and we're disappointed because it didn't come with the accessory that we wanted it to, you can imagine that Gridiron Studios is probably going to recreate that and give us exactly what we're looking for. Some of the highlights here, I think, are they made a backpack for Firefly that comes with a whole little blowtorch system and some tools. But here's a great way. One of the best things they've made here is a loadout for Doc. Now, the Doc, obviously Classified is limited. They can only put so many accessories, and then they're out of budget. Well, Gridiron has actually they've come up with the ultimate medic loadout, and it has a pitch perfect Doc helmet, which has scissors and IVs and little blood packs and a really strong stretcher. So a very cool item. They even come with a version for Cobra as well. And you're going to find loadouts for just about every character. There's a ninja loadout that you can use to amplify your Storm Shadow that comes with nunchucks that have a little mini chain on them, shuriken, and a backpack that can fit basically everything. We got a loadout for Spirit that has a tomahawk in it and a crossbow. But some of my other favorite things they have, you can buy Molotov cocktails, little bottles with flames in them. And this is probably the coolest, I think, because Destro needs this, a cigar set with little smoke attachments. So Destro can, smoke up with his buddies while they plot to kill each other secretly behind the back. He can smoke a cigar with Major Blood and Tomax and Zaymot as all of them then plot how to destroy each other behind each other's back. And there's just a lot of fun and creativity in here and expanding the world of what you can do. Like I said, we go on and on for Gridiron Studios. I'd suggest just taking a look if you haven't already. So most kits are going to run you $20 to $40 for some accessories. So yeah, it's a lot. And now you're taking a character that maybe was $25 and making it into $60 or $70 character. But I gotta admit, there are occasions when I just think it's kind of worth it. My favorites here, you have Buzzer actually comes with the gas can that he would normally come with as an original figure. That's how he loads up his chainsaw back in the day when they were gas powered. And it comes with a much better version of this little like a blade on a chain weapon that we got in the original figure. So a more perfect version of Buzzer, a more ideal version of Buzzer you can grab at Gridiron Studios. Next in line we have the Valaverse. And the Valaverse is Action Force. Bobby Valla bought the copyright and grabbed a couple of things, and so there's some G.I. Joe stuff mixed in here. We've got Sergeant Slaughter, we've got a version of the Steel Brigade that's in a sort of maybe it looks like a newer one. It looks like an update from what we have and from what Hasbro gave us in the Classify line. And in general, the Valaverse gives you a lot of really interesting characters that you could bring in. And so it's just something you want some new characters to bring in. The Valaverse is a great place to do it. But you're also going to see, we all complain about the stupid little bendy weapons and how all the weapons just, are all bent and twisted when you get them in the package. And that's because Hasbro has to work with certain safety standards because some kid poked his eye out with a G.I. Joe weapon once, and they're worried that it's going to happen again. Well, the Valaverse doesn't really give a shit about that, apparently, or they don't have to, and their weapons are nice and sturdy. So, and you can actually get weapon packs. You can also get head packs where they have like weird orgasm faces. So I don't know why you want that, because it's odd for your character to just be like all the time, but it's kind of fun, so I can see that, and that's what you're into. As a Dradnok enthusiast, I need some motorcycles for my Dradnoks. Well, you can actually get fairly decent recreations of motorcycles that will fit your Dradnoks, and this you can get anywhere pretty much. You can get them on Amazon.com at a company that makes HarleyDavidson, I think it's called, the company's called, and it makes Harley-Davidson style motorcycles that are 1/12 scale. So and they make a variety of them, so you can pretty much find one for just about every Dradnok and have a nice variety of it. And you're running about $20 a pop. Are you a gore hound like me? I like my horror movies to have tons of gore and splatter. And so if you want to add a little splatter and gore to your G.I. Joe, you can also go on and check out these packs of effects. You can get them on Amazon.com from this company, and it comes with that. I actually got a set of these. It came with a pretty nice video arcade game that looks just like something you'd have in a video arcade back in the day. It even had little stickers that you could, or not even stickers, a little, like they stick on, but and then they're removable. The game, so you can change up the screen for the game, and it came with inside, and that video game is a storage for actually a bunch of different little weapons and things like vomit. And you can also get one from the same company, and it has a series of just like splatter, just like gore, neck cuts and blood splats and all kinds of things. So if you want to do some photography with these things, this can be really fun. What if you want the head of your favorite actor on your G.I. Joe classified figure? Like, let's say you want Nicolas Cage's head because you want to recreate Face Off. Or in the case where what I did was I wanted myself a Rocky Balboa figure, and so I ordered a absolutely perfect Sylvester Stallone head from Etsy, and I found it on eBay and Etsy from the same seller, and here he is. And it came in absolutely meticulously painted, and it is perfect. And I'm lazy and have not turned it into a Rocky Balboa figure yet, but the work was perfect, and I was absolutely happy with what I got. They have Arnold, they've got Sylvester Stallone in his various incarnations, Cobra or whatever. I would love to see Marion Cobretti join G.I. Joe. I think that would be really fun. And although that would be ironic for him to be, for Cobra to be a G.I. Joe team, but whatever. So those are some companies that are making things for G.I. Joe Classified. If you know of other companies doing that, please let me know, because I'm new to this. So maybe you know more than I do, and leave it in the comment section below. And we can keep this conversation going. I'd love to hear what you found. And if you want to talk more about Classified, here is a video that you may enjoy.